even if a man has done no wrong in this life, has not harmed a woman per se, they still carry collective guilt and shame. I've got 6 sons. I've got a big range of ages. And I feel when they're about the teenage years, I feel that coming on. Welcome to Activations with JJ. In today's episode, we talk about all things divine masculine, including how this is a huge time of awakening during the 7-7 to 8-8 portal for the divine masculine and men specifically. I'm excited to get going, so let's dive right in. Hello friends. Just a little greeting from my galactic self, and want to let you know how excited I am to have you with me today for this episode, which applies to everyone. I think that's huge programming. It's like, oh, it's divine masculine. Doesn't need to be anything I worry about if I'm a woman. But as you know, no matter if we are in a female body or a male body, we have both of those pieces to us, and it's all about reconciling that. Plus, there's so much coming up right now in the collective around father wounding, brother wounding, mother wounding, sister wounding. In fact, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago in my Starseed Gridwork community. I have a channeled message on there every single month. That's an exclusive piece of content just for the community. And it's just incredible to bring through those messages. I feel like they're a little bit more refined and different from what I bring through here on my podcast. So if you are not already a member of the Starseed Gridwork community, please join our flock. We are calling in the masses now. It was interesting because at the beginning of July, I switched out my support team. Every 6 months, I switch out my support team. And my support team grew like 3 times in its size. And my guides were like, hang on, there's going to be a lot of people flooding in. So here we are just getting ready for this 8-8 portal. I feel like a huge turning point is going to occur after the 8-8 portal. You might remember that I talked about this in the monthly energy update. So yeah, hang on. There's some really big shifting coming on, included but not limited to this divine masculine piece. I want to preface this by sharing with you a little story, which I kind of did talk about in the July energy update, but I want to expand on it, around how I even came to bring this in as a theme. So some of you know that I've talked about one of the themes, it was last month, was calling in your divine counterpart. And I think this was last month. Now I'm going to say that, and I might be mistaken, but it has been a theme very recently. Essentially, divine partnerships has been a really big theme. It's been a theme for my friends, a lot of my single friends, and they're like, okay, I feel it coming. I feel it coming. So I want you to know, if you are in that boat, yes, this is absolutely happening. But I think this divine masculine activation and remembrance is key, not just for men, but for women as well, because we're reconciling all of this within and without. So as I was sitting down to develop this idea, I was speaking with one of my friends, and we really felt the inner little boy come forward. And the inner little boy did not want to hear the title of this offering, actually, that I'm talking to you about, which is my divine masculine activation workshop, which was kind of, I guess you could say, totally interwoven and connected with the theme. That's why I bring it up. It was like they want this to be playful. And so what I ended up doing was crafting the description of the workshop to address that. I 100% wanted to address the fact that the inner little boy was not wanting this to be too serious. And it was really evoking this sense of adventure in them. So what I'm going to share with you is a description of the workshop. And whether or not you attend it, this is the crux of the theme, divine masculine activation. All right, here we go. It says, before you read below, call in your inner child. So everybody take a deep breath, call in your inner child, And no matter if you are in a male or female body, this, you're going to feel pings about what this is related to. Attention, agents of the divine masculine. Your next mission, should you choose to accept it, involves unlocking the secrets of your higher self and activating your soul's true purpose. Welcome to the Divine Masculine Mission Activation Workshop, a top secret 2-hour operation designed to recall ancient wisdom, dismantle old limitations, and fortify your mission-critical action steps for this incarnation. Gather intel with your fellow operatives, harness the power of collective intention, and decode the original blueprint for the divine masculine role. No man left behind, and no soul contract overlooked. In this covert operation, you'll infiltrate the strongholds of unworthiness and brother wounding, dismantling these barriers with precision and focus. Then, initiate new alliances of spiritual liberation and brotherhood, restoring the sacred councils of old. This mission will download light codes to synchronize your mind, body, and heart, transforming you into the ultimate agent of the divine masculine. This message will not self-destruct, but your opportunity to join this elite activation might. Secure your spot now. Dun, dun, dun. I feel like I need to do the Mission Impossible theme. That I read in its entirety just for kicks and giggles because I think it was funny. And I do want to let you know, some of you are probably wondering, is this for women? That's a whole other story that I'm going to share with you because it's related to this topic of divine masculine activation as a whole. Now, I want to let you know that I'm co-creating this offering with 2 people. And even if you do not attend with us, we would love to have you. I'm bringing through some sound bites that they shared when the 3 of us sat down to calibrate and tune in to the contents of the workshop and the format of the workshop. Every single offering that I put out is so intentional and calibrated. Like if I'm doing it with other people, we're collaborating, we take that time. We take that time to do so. And so those of you who are involved in the Gateway to Inner Earth Mount Shasta portal know that because we're calibrating. We're having 3 calibration calls. We've already had them actually. And all 3 of those calls have been with the intention of calibrating. So when I sat down with my friend Audrey and my friend Andy, we really were able to capture some of the energy and frequency of this theme. And I'm excited for you to hear their really divinely guided, inspired, channeled information that came through their own personal selves as a conduit of these frequencies. And you'll be able to listen to that in just a moment. I'm going to share that with you. Before I do, let me tell you what came in as I was trying to figure out whether or not I wanted to do this as a co-ed or if it was for just men only. Now, some of you know that on Sunday, I have 2 offerings coming out. If you're listening to this right when I publish it, so it'd be July 21st. I have my Remembering the Way of the Rose, and I have my Restoring Golden Atlantis. Interestingly enough, we felt that these containers, myself and the collaborators, would be co-ed. So Remembering the Way of the Rose is for the brothers and sisters of the Rose. And in addition, the Restoring Golden Atlantis is also co-ed, which might be a little bit more obvious. But I felt drawn to offer the workshop that we're doing, this Divine Masculine Mission Activation, which I have only opened to men. I've only opened to this to men. Myself and my friend Audrey, I felt would be the only women in there. So all of a sudden, I realized that if I plug in this Divine Masculine Mission Activation Workshop as like a bonus for everybody doing the Restoring Atlantis, there's women. And I'm working you through this because this was a big aha moment. So I contacted Audrey and I said, wait a minute, we have a problem. I'm like, what's going on here? Are we okay with women coming? And so we tuned in, and what came forward was that the women who attend are just limited to the ones doing the Restoring Golden Atlantis course, but they will be there to witness, that the men need to be witnessed. And guess what else? The women need to be witnessed too by the masculine. So I know that we're really setting our intentions that men will attend. Some men will attend the Remembering the Way of the Rose. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I kind of want to do that, please come. We need men to also witness the women in that one. And so we're being shown how we are gently shifting into more comfort with witnessing each other. That's a huge piece of it. Now, in these sound bites that you're about to listen to from Audrey and from Andy, you will hear that. You will feel that. So much incredible energy came through in just the hour we met to prepare for the workshop, let alone what this is going to be. And I'm just extremely grateful for both of them and their gifts. Before we listen, and I just calibrating, taking some deep breaths. The subject here is intense. And I'll share one last thing after you listen to Audrey and Andy. I'll share one last thing that came forward for me. I'll recap it for you. In this meeting, that was a huge, huge aha moment. So without any further ado, here are the sound bites from Audrey and then Andy. And then I will wrap us up at the very end. So we'll see you on the other side.
I've always, even as a child, had these mystical experiences and have never really reconciled the two. And so there came a point, and I think for everyone, this point comes where enough's enough, and you just kind of get on your knees and say, show me the truth. And that's what happened to me. And what came in was this resplendent love that's here now, always. And what comes in with respect to that is this idea of worthiness, and something that's, a theme that I have really been working on myself and letting that kind of unfold in the field. But with that, there's the sense that we're whole and complete now, and it is literally a choice to choose that. And that was a big turning point for me. And what's happened now is just this allowance of more and more and more of that, in a way to complement what, I refer as this, see as the divine masculine as this, creative, actualization of the divine feminine's power. And when I'm working with a lot of guys, or a lot of them are coming from the standpoint of the absence of that and trying to reconcile it themselves. And so there's a complete 180 flip to realize that what a lot of times I did in my life, and sometimes I continue to do, and a lot of the guys that I've worked with, is the fact that we're trying to fix things. And so now this is the gentle opportunity to come back to cause, to realize that, this is just a choice. This is all about seeing ourselves in a clear light. And for some, it's terrifying. And for others, it's a beautiful and powerful opportunity.
Worked with men primarily for many, many years, of all generations, going back to World War II, for 14 years, and getting to work with the divine masculine wounds. But I worked in healthcare as my system. The education system is similar in that they go together, right? And so there is this a desire to put things in boxes that are succinct and measurable. But there are so many things that can't be measured, right? Like the things that you describe, mystical experiences, and when it creates like this buffering issue in the human brain when you are having those experiences, but you can't put them in a box because so many of our systems are based on the masculine that is rigid and wounded and won't go into the womb space. So that cause and effect thing, our entire system is based on treating the effect and not the cause, right? And so you're like, especially healthcare, you treat the effect, not the cause. That's why I was like in a pilot program for metabolic syndrome was like, you're treating the effect of the syndrome, not the cause of the syndrome. So when you get to the root of it, you don't have to deal with the effect. And because the masculine has run all of these systems, in a distorted way, we are constantly trying to, like, that's all the busy work is to clean up those messes of the effect without ever getting to the cause to create ease, which is that feminine womb space. And for you and JJ, I don't know if you've listened to my channel earlier today that I sent you about the council. Why wouldn't you? It's the first, I know, but your head's going to melt off because
nuclear explosion.
Yeah, it's going to melt off because it is talking about how everything has been created from a distorted expression that it has expanded. And so like in Atlantis, I was a grid worker in Atlantis, where I was, trying to perfect the grid so that the councils of the men, could expand that in creation instead of destruction. They were trying to expand that, and you wanted it to expand in its perfection and purity and love frequency instead of distortion. But instead it expanded in distortion because it fell apart. And so what I'm hearing you say, Andy, my beloved brother that I just met, is that you are in a space to acknowledge not only just the value of the feminine. So many men I know do acknowledge the value of the feminine, but you're actually, you're acknowledging what the feminine brings that the masculine needs to hold space for in order for that perfected expansion instead of like chasing your tail and cleaning up messes. And because all our systems, you working in research is so valuable, just as working in healthcare and with all the men has been valuable to me to know how that process worked intricately. From every perspective, I know how the healthcare system works. And because of the men I've worked with, I know how military works. I know how technology works. I know how banking works. These men I've worked with, VPs, corporate heads, they've told me all of their hearts. And I know what doesn't work and what is like great for them and what doesn't sit well with them. And you do too. From that narrow perspective. And so to speak to the understanding of that, and I think it's also important that masculines be seen for having been trapped in that and having felt trapped in that because they didn't have a choice, and allowing them to know, I appreciate what you did with what you could. Now it's time to play and create and make this expanded universe that you always wish to have. Because I don't know how you feel, but every man I have talked to has wanted to get on a motorcycle and ride cross country with Jack Kerouac in their back pocket. And they just want to be free.
Okay. So take a deep breath again. Ooh, just transitioning from those beautiful messages with gratitude again to both of them. This is very similar. Like, I just want you to feel the frequency because like when I shared with you the transmissions that Anna and I did for Sacred Initiation Journey, I know that I was calibrating and helping you feel into the frequencies of that offering. This one's similar. This is just a 2-hour workshop though that we're doing. So it's not like a 3-month course like my Sacred Initiation Journey, but you can feel how powerful it is. And I said this the other day. I said, we can do more in less time if we're extremely intentional and hop into the field of quantum flow. So even for that reason, the Way of the Rose and Restoring Golden Atlantis are 3 weeks. Those containers are 3 weeks. And each of those courses is $222. If you are part of my Starseed Gridwork community, you get a discount. So that's another reason to join the Starseed Gridwork community. But again, just thrilled to be able to co-create with you if you are feeling called to step into any of these containers. Now, let me share with you, okay, this big aha moment that I alluded to before the messages from Andy and Audrey. As we were sitting there we were just kind of chatting and feeling into everything. And I was really starting to feel an interesting emotional response coming up in my body, but I could not figure out what it was. And what came to the surface as we sort of just winded our way around and went down all kinds of rabbit holes while we were talking, we were addressing specifically like the Me Too movement. And both Audrey and Andy agreed that even if a man has done no wrong in this life, has not harmed a woman per se, they still carry collective guilt and shame. And then, and I agreed with that. And I had felt it in my sons, right? I've got 6 sons, adult and children sons. I've got a big range of ages. And I feel when they're about the teenage years, I feel that coming on subconsciously because they're old enough to understand the news, and they're just like, oh my gosh, men do this. Men do this to women? And I can immediately feel that coming on with them. Well, I was totally shocked by what came through after that in my own personal body and my emotional body. All of a sudden, I started realizing that I felt this before, but I felt it stronger than I ever have. The amount of rage, anger, and resentment I had towards the masculine for being perpetrators of any kind of violence or manipulation against women. And I will tell you right now, in this incarnation, I did not choose to experience that individually. I was raised in a very loving household where that was not present. And I know some of you did not have that experience, and I hold space and send so much love and compassion to you. But even still, I have picked up on that. And I was in a moment of lucidity, so much clarity right then, that my guides were able to share something very deep about my experience and what I've been carrying. And I got emotional as I was sharing this with Andy and Audrey. I felt that as a woman raising sons, as a mother of men, sons, males, I had to navigate the rage, resentment, and anger against the collective masculine. I had to suppress that. And it was difficult to still be able to show up for my boys, to still be able to extend love and compassion to them, even though in my body, just genetically, there is so much collective resentment, anger, hatred towards men that I have just picked up on by nature of being in a female body. Wow, that was a huge revelation for me. And I want to honor the boy mom club is what I call it, because, it's become a thing now, like #boy mom. I don't think any of us realize that is going on in the background. And I'm holding space for any of you who have felt this very deep level and layer of tension, trying to navigate basically this wall of emotion, this flood of really intense emotion against and towards the divine masculine. Well, the masculine, I should say. We know it's not the divine masculine, but men. Men is probably the best way to say it. I flip-flop, I know. Men. And as we witness that is a reality, that is an experience that the feminine is having, I think we're able to reconcile that to some level and to some degree. And you can feel how what I'm talking about was touched on to some degree, to some layer and level by what in what Andy was saying. And for any woman who works with men in any capacity that feels maternal, so whether you are literally the biological, physical mother of a male, or you are like Audrey, you were a counselor or are a counselor of men, or any way that you do that, you're going to feel, right? I feel your bodies reacting to what I'm saying. Because in order for us to cope, we've had to suppress and repress that anger, which sometimes we actually have guilt and shame for holding. And sometimes it's so confusing why we just feel the rage and we cannot explain why. It's safe to allow that to gently drift to the surface. And our guides can assist us and support us with skimming that off the top on a daily basis, because most of us don't live lives where we can just explode, implode, explode, and release it all at one time. It's not even in alignment for the body to do that. And one of the reasons, I'm hearing this, wow. Thank you for holding space for me to bring in this message at the tail end of the podcast, because normally this stuff doesn't happen. One of the reasons it's been difficult for us to cope with these emotions as women is we have forgotten the rights of water and how water, that in the water rights of the sacred feminine and the sisterhood circles were designed to help us transmute. The mother wounding, but it's like reverse mother wounding because we were the mother. And it felt like a wound to be asked to give a physical body, to provide a physical body if you birthed them, to men who, for so many generations were channeling the distorted masculine and projecting their self-hatred and their self-loathing onto women. Let's take a deep breath. Thank you for this awareness. Thank you. Thank you to our higher selves. Thank you to Great Mother Sophia for allowing us to hold space for this awareness. And I will allow you to release this podcast, this transmission right now. I will bring it to a close, even in this moment of emotion where I'm not reaching a point of closure yet myself, and I will process this after I am done recording. But I want you to know that I am still with you, that our beautiful cosmic Sophia Mother is with us, our Father, divine, masculine, aspect of Source is with us. And it is safe to stay in your body while you process this. It is necessary for you to stay in your body while you process this. So leaning into some embodiment as you join me in closing our time together. Thank you, my friends. I am sending you so much love. And I'm reminding you that I am you and you are me. And we are one. And so it is. Until next time.